listening to Force Majeure, an actual play Star Wars podcast. My name is Adam, and I'm your host. And today's episode will be brought to you after this question from our characters.
So, we have been spending 3 weeks in my family's abode, the Doc's abode, and the Doc has been marvelling at the skill with which Roy has been nannying the kids, and so he has a question for Tychus. Tychus, I know you're a weaponsmith. It's never been quite clear to me exactly what it is your parents did, but have they ever considered getting into the line of selling battle droid personnel or selling droids as nannies? Because I think there's a definite market for.
So, my folks, back in the Clone Wars, building battle droids is what they did. That was their actual jobs. Dad used to build them and Mum used to program them, and together they would arm them and send them out there to fight, whoever, Galactic Republic, pirates. When the war ended and they left Separatist space and came to Kina Bale, there was a bit of an armistice to allow them to do that. And one of the big criteria for that was that they would stop building battle droids. Now, admittedly, it's been a while since we've had any inspectors come over to make sure that they were keeping to that, but they took it kind of seriously, which is why Roy, who was already around at that point, I was born right at the tail end of the Clone Wars, so they'd already built Roy for me, at least the original Roy, the proto-Roy. And when we got to Kina Bale, they found other trades. They do build droids, that's as well as weaponry. But most of the droids they build are prospector droids or medical droids or assistance remotes and that sort of stuff. I think to make a droid like Roy, it's not just programming. They could build any droid and bang in some basic nanny protocols. But to really be Roy, you've got to be raised Roy, And he's my brother, It'd be like you selling one of your children out there. You've raised one to be a good nanny, so why not breed a few more and raise them to be good nannies and sell them off? You've got to understand that in my family, the religion that we hold to, droids are more than just tools. They're people. And although we build droids to help out, like TBC and so on and so forth, it's still, when you're creating life, you still have to hold it with that kind of reverence, which is why we screen. That's the word. It's why we screen whoever we're building droids for, to make sure that they're not going to abuse our family members. And bluntly, with the exception of a few friends I had growing up whose families didn't need a nanny droid, no one else has passed that test. And even on Kina Bale, can you imagine a couple of feral Roys running around without the karmic influence of me to make sure they don't go too wild? It'd be a bloodbath.
I certainly can't imagine him without your calming influence. No, that's very true. No, okay. It seemed to me like there was an opportunity there, but clearly I underappreciate some of the ethics involved and the effort involved. Okay.
Roy's just sort of pottering around in the background, not paying too much attention, you think. But as you guys finish up your conversation and stuff, and you move to a different area, you just hear Roy very quietly say,
I don't know why I care. I don't think you could be what I am if you don't care. But I don't know where it comes from. I don't know if it would always work. It's not something I can find the programming for. I don't know why I work. I think it's not just my programming. It was my upbringing. And that has to mean something more than just on and off as a feature. Anyway, we don't need to avoid that bit on the map. That is actually not a magma flow, that is ketchup.
Hi, my name's Ed Fortune, and I'm going to be your I'm going to use Were Wizard, Games Master for this session of Force Majeure. This campaign is called Shadows of the Jedi, which I'm sure you're well aware of, as you're many episodes in at this point. And I get to run an amazing game of Star Wars the RPG with some fantastic human beings. And I'd like them to introduce themselves, starting with Mikey.
Hi, I'm Mikey. I play Kay. Kay is a human warrior starfighter Cerea striker. His emotional strength is his compassion, because he's a very compassionate guy. But his emotional weakness is his hatred, because he's not a big fan of the Empire.
Hi, I'm Ross. I'm playing Dr. Smex Karamdanalawa, who is not a human. He's a Cerean consular healer. His emotional strength is his compassion, because he's nice like that. And his weakness is his obstinacy, which, I don't know, I'm sure has held him back in all kinds of ways until now. But
Hi, I'm Mim. I play Roy. Roy is a modified B1 battle droid. He has specializations as a bodyguard and a heavy, a career as a hired gun. He has an obligation to the Bar family. And he's also not human, in case that needs pointing out as well.
And I'm Adam. I play Tychus Bar, a Basilisk Guardian Armourer, who is also not human. He is better than humans by 50% because he has more arms and therefore can do more things, such as play chess with himself. His emotional strength is bravery. His emotional weakness is his recklessness. And we're all about to die at the hands of a lava kraken.
We're going to freeze the action for a moment just to describe where you are in the world. You are in what can only be described as a natural cathedral, this huge kind of chamber, and you can see through the portals and the devices of the Grebnax. You can sense that they are stalactites of different colours and different resonances. The light of the lava beneath you is illuminating. There's a kind of a natural glow, and you can feel the incredible heat around you. In front of you is a lava kraken. Is the best way to visually describe what is essentially a morass of long, thin tendrils of light and rock, and in the center you can see in front of you, you can kind of like on again via through the Grebnax, you can sense this massive beak, more kind of hall of things. And what I would like from everyone right now is not to reroll characters, but instead is for all of you to make athletics checks, please. Difficulty 2.
That's a flat wash from me, Ed.
okay, I have 2 successes and 1 threat.
And I have 1 success, 1 threat, and because of who I am, a dark side point, which I'm not going to use.
Well, luckily I have some ranks in athletics, so I have got 4 successes but 1 threat.
Okay, so the way this works is if you fail, take a wound, and if you take threat, take 1 strain per threat, please.
Oh, Doc! What the heck's this thing? I didn't read anything about this in the documentation that your various wives gave me about what we face down here. It's all squiddly and grippery and that. I'm not sure the Grebnax can deal with this kind of additional pressure. It's not built for being fondled.
And it drives like a brick. We're not going to have much joy getting away from this.
I mean, I suppose that the one saving grace is if it tries to eat us, we'll just fire up the mining drill and cut our way through the bugger and hope it doesn't crush us all along the way. I mean, it probably will. I know I would if I was trying to eat something and said thing, melted my teeth away. But at least we can die knowing that it's also going to be in an awful lot of pain.
You're getting really sidetracked here, Tychus. You're really sidetracked. So, serious question. Magma squid? Lava octopus? What are we calling it?
Roctopus!
Sure, why not?
While we're doing this, we're struggling against the squid, trying to maneuver away from it. We're not just glibbling. We're not doing a Joss Whedon. We're actually trying to escape from this.
Yes.
You can see that Roy is sort of vaguely hanging on to things, going,
Have you considered the ecological impact of us maybe being in the environment of a strange species that is not used to this kind of behavior from people around it? Maybe if we try and act less like a prey animal, we'll be okay.
We're a teardrop with a drill on the front. I'm not sure we've got much choice.
Can I have a piloting check, please? Your difficulty is 2, unless you can tell me something to reduce it down. If all you're trying to do is get out of the way, it's currently a 2.
Okay, that is fine. So that is 2 successes, an advantage and a light side, which will turn into another advantage.
You can spend that advantage one of two ways. You can use it to obviously reduce strain if you wish. Alternatively, I can throw a benefit in if you wish, an environmental benefit.
Yeah, throw us an environmental benefit, would you please? Always happy to mix things up.
Just as the last minute, you notice that there's like a large kind of bubble of something else, and you're able to pop it without hurting the vehicle. And as it pops, like your passage causes this bubble to burst, and out fly maybe 20 house cat-sized jellyfish-like things.
Uh-oh, I've made it worse. I'm trying to reverse. So there's a wrenching of gears as I try and get us to go backwards.
And 3 or 4 of the tendrils from the lava crack from this roctopus fly out and grab the jellies. And unlike yourselves, where it pulls it and throws them away, it just pulls them in.
Isn't nature beautiful?
That was my difficulty for my education roll.
It would be 3 because this is unknown to man the beast.
Ah, but is it a known unknown or an unknown known or a?
It's an unknown.
That is 2 success, 2 advantage.
Okay, you are very confident that this is not the apex predator.
Yay!
I'm not sure that's a good thing. What eats these?
There are worse things down here. Oh, thank you very much, mate.
Lava megalodon.
I've seen that film.
You're pretty sure that most defenses against this are probably passive. So you start looking around for like what would have a passive defense, and also on that advantage, you're fairly confident that you aren't prey because it would have eaten you. It had you. It absolutely had you, and it let you go. It threw you away. So like you're not. It can sense. It can't sense you. You can sense that you're essentially a fancy rock.
Okay.
It doesn't want to eat the fancy rock because it's fancy rock. It doesn't need fancy rock right now. In fact, on those 2 advantage, you're probably weird fancy rock. Like, it's like, metal, indigestion, no thank you, sort of thing.
I'm quite confident it's not trying to eat us. I think we should get away from it while we can.
Working on that. Can I make a computers test, please, Ed, to send out a sonar equivalent pulse and try and use that to map us a route out for K that gets us out of this lava kraken's immediate vicinity without having to go through the lava kraken?
Yes, please. That would be a difficulty 2. However, I'm going to give you a blue for the doctor's earlier clue as to the nature of these caverns.
Cool. 4 success.
Down, you're going to have to use the lasers and you're going to have to drill in a bit, but providing that you can have it distracted, you should probably be able to work with the lasers, and you are heading down essentially the throat. If you've gone through the head, you're going down through the esophagus and breaking through. You reckon the best way to do this is to smash through some of the veins, as the doctor would put it.
Of the roctopus?
No, of the route to get out.
Oh, okie dokie.
If this entire cavern structure is an organic being, which is the metaphor the doctor used, you're if we just draw an incision this way, we can go further. We can get there faster.
Cool. Well, I throw that up on the hollow screen by K, which is where our little kind of mini map is that we're planning. You're gonna have to drill down, K. Point us down. I'll make sure the drill's fired up properly. We're gonna have to make it quick.
All right. He's frantically clicking buttons and warning things that are flashing and things like that. And he pushes the controls forward, and we start pushing into the lava. Get the drill working.
So I need a piloting check from, in this order, I'll need a piloting check from K, I'll need a weapons check from Tychus, and from the other 2 party members, I'm going to say it's a vigilance check, unless you can argue for something else as you try and observe your environment.
Okay, difficulty on those checks?
Difficulty on all of these checks is 2. K gets a bonus of 1 blue, and Tychus gets a bonus of 1 blue as well.
Okay. It is technically a gunnery test then to use the shipped weapons, which I don't have, so I'm going to spend one of our many light side points to get a yellow dice of them.
Is this a test for can we react to what's going on around us and avoid knocking our heads against consoles?
Yeah, you're trying to keep awareness of what's going on while your companions are observing and actually working. I'm assuming that you are paying attention to your environment and therefore able to help your allies. I mean, if you're not and you're just playing solitaire, please do let me know.
No, I am paying attention. Well, correction. I say I'm paying attention because I've just made my dice roll, and I've got no successes and no failures, which, as I recall, is just a failure.
Yeah, it's just a failure.
I have 2 advantages. I'm just thinking that for all that, he's had weeks of exposure to the local surroundings, I don't think there's that much headroom on this ship.
Let me slip those advantages into my narrative back pocket for a second while we get the rest of the results.
Mm-hmm.
What did we get on the piloting check first?
Okay. Regardless of having so many dice, it's untrue. I got 3 successes and 1 dark side point. I am not spending the dark side point. So 3 successes, 3 advantages and 1 dark side point. Sorry.
So no advantage.
No success.
No success, but 3 advantage.
That's right.
What did we get on the gunnery check?
Very similar. I got a failure, but with 2 advantage. We ain't going this way.
Okay, Roy is going to have to come up with something.
What did Roy get on the vigilance check?
It's a 4 fail. You don't want that.
Wow.
So you all start looking around as nothing happens, as you kind of go around in circles. You can't find a purchase. You're all panicking because there's this enormous creature. There's this creature's looking around, and you look at each other, and then you look at each other again, and there's something wrong with this room. And then you realise that these cat-sized jellyfish creatures are just floating there, staring at you. And they've got these big kind of cute jellyfish heads. They're like essentially tendrils and bobbly eyes bobbling around, and you all stare at each other, stare back, stare at each other, and they all go, whoa! And then you see them as they phase through. Some of them actually physically vanish, but you see them as some of them just vanish. So the one that Roy's looking at, Roy's staring at it, you're staring at it, and you see as it disappears until all you can see is this little glowing crystal and its eyes, and then it disappears completely. And then you see others kind of shimmer as they phase through the hull.
That's bad.
Nope.
And then the one that's staring at Roy then suddenly reappears and goes, and again does this kind of panic response as it flies out through the hull. But this is the important thing: it's not punctured your hull. They're phasing through.
Nope.
I want one.
Are there any in the ship?
They are few, yes, and they're just looking round, kind of just confused. Instantly, they're like, whoop, 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 whoop.
I do not like the phase jellies being in our living space. There is limited living space, and they are phase jellies. Okay?
There's not much I can do about things inside the ship.
Roy is now opening, cupboards and anything, and looking for jars, anything he can fill with water. One he's filled with squash, and he's just picking up some jellies and shoving them in things.
Which, given they live in magma, probably immediately turns them to stones.
Oh.
Or maybe not. Maybe your hands go through them as well.
Either way, I'm trying to put them in things.
Can I have an attack roll for the phase jellies?
An attack roll for that?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love the little jelly.
It would be brawl to grab, unless you can argue me athletics, but I would say it was a brawl.
No, I'm going to go with brawling with the jellies. So I've got 2 yellow and 1 green in this. Can I get a boost dice? Because I am going to be making calming oopa voices even as I leap around and shove them in buckets.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes! Because nothing is more calming than someone going oopa and then leaping at you.
I mean, you're joking now, but when I do my piloting check, I'm going to ask for a boost dice because you're doing that.
Yeah. It's always worked for Tychus. It's a very soothing noise.
It is.
Right, so is that a difficulty 2?
Difficulty 2, yes. Default difficulty is 2.
I have nothing but good intentions to these creatures, so that should come through. Oh yeah! So that is 1 triumph. 1 triumph and 2 advantage.
So, most of them scatter. As soon as you go, oopa, most of them just do that startled cat thing of going, no, I'm off. Effectively what Roy does is get rid of all of them by being over friendly. But there's one, and it's small and it's round and it's pink. And it's flashing as well, and it changes, it changes from pink to red to yellow to magma, this kind of flow thing. And it basically goes bop, 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 and it goes into your container, and it's like, and you suddenly like something you realize from the vast bits of equipment that you have treats, you have chocolates, you have food, and you feed it. And at this point, it makes, on the Triumph, it makes a pleasing purring sound. It's not quite a purring sound, it's more like a subsonic kind of bleating, but it's close enough. And you have a friend for life. And as you put it into the jar, you see again, it doesn't phase out of the jar, though you quite clearly some of its tendrils do. If you see what I mean, and it grabs another treat off you by phasing through the jar and phase stealing the food. But then it kind of, all that remains are these two massive kind of almost manga-esque cartoon eyes, as the rest of it has camouflaged, hidden itself inside this, what I'm assuming is like a large clear cookie jar style thing that you've manifested because it's Roy, and I assume Roy has access to these sort of things.
While this is going on, Tyker's giving increasingly worried side eyes to Roy while smashing at the shoot laser button.
Can I have a piloting check, please, from...
Can I get a boost for the calming noises?
Yes, you get a boost for all the calming noises. And the fact that these creatures have scattered, actually get 2 boosts, because it was a triumph. Because not only have these creatures scattered, some of them have scattered towards the Rocktopus, which is currently going... The difficulty would be a default of 2.
That's 2 successes, 4 advantage, 2 light side points. So let's make that into 2 successes, 6 advantage.
Okay, do you want to pass any of those advantages off to a gunnery roll?
Yes, I'd like to pass as many as I possibly can.
Okay.
I will take all of those boost, and I will be flipping a destiny point as well because my gunnery. I'm not a gunnerer. Normally, I have Roy to do the gunnerering, but this is kind of not using the weapon system so much as making sure that the drill's working on time. So
it requires a little more delicacy than perhaps you trust with Roy.
Yes, yeah, that is 1 failure, but 5 further advantage. Right, Kate, what you're gonna have to do is just push the nose of the Grebnax into the rock so I cannot possibly miss, and that's the point I'll start firing the drill.
All right.
Go slow.
We gotta go boop it.
Aye, not the Kraken, not the... Like the rock directly below us. Where even is below? I'm lost in lava. That way. Roy, control your phase jellies!
Roy's going to flash his eyes in the same colour pattern that the pink jelly did as it was calming down.
Good call.
Because it went through a series of colour flashes before it chilled.
I'm going to spend 3 of my 5 advantages. The ability to change Roy's eyes colour is something that's installed in Roy. Because I want to make sure we definitely can do Mim's plan.
I'm 100% cool with that. That absolutely works. I'm trying to figure out what sort of charisma-based persuasion...
Charm?
I'm going to say it's probably charm.
Well, you could argue that it would be a replicate... It's kind of a perception, because I'd have to have noticed it well enough to replicate it. Or...
Vigilance, maybe? Or charm, yeah?
It could be a vigilance, otherwise... Yeah. Well.
I'm going to say this is a charm roll, I'm afraid. I can't really justify the perception and vigilance.
That's okay. I have no skill in charms. What I can...
You do have light side points, however.
Yeah, we've still got 5, if you want to flip one.
Can I flip one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, so because I have no skills in it, that's just 1 flat green, and then I can upgrade that to 1 yellow, right?
Yeah. So, if I've used 3 of my advantage to give you the ability to do all your eye-changing colour, I'm going to give my last 2 advantage to you for your charm check as you go, okay, inspired by your brother's worried commands.
Add 2 blue as well to that, so.
This is where all of my nannying and parenting skills and everything comes into. I have seen the offspring that can't communicate. I have acknowledged that it has tried to communicate, and now I'm going to use this one child to try and terrify or help the rest of the class of squid children. They're my squid babies now.
They're your jelly babies!
I want to take a photo of this, so that is 4 success and 4 advantage.
Woo! One of us managed to succeed in a roll.
So
Has someone uncursed Mim's dice?
No, what she's just done is pass the curse on to the rest of us.
It was wonderful. They all came up with one success and one advantage. You know, the two marks. That was so cool. Oh, and one failure and one extra on its own, but they cancelled each other out.
So what I'm going to say has happened is, as you kind of flash back, it flashes back, and you end up having a bit of a conversation. And essentially it goes, hello, scary thing, we're leaving. Follow, yes please. And it shows you the way out.
Yes!
And I'm not going to ask for a piloting roll from Kay because he's already been very successful at the piloting roll, but you see that it's essentially the lava Kraken's blocking the exit, but because it's moving towards the food, you're able to get past what is essentially almost like a whirlpool. And Kay, it's just like you just have to be very careful with the flow, if you see what I mean, because it'll suck you in like a sink. And suddenly you find yourself all going very quickly. There's this flow, and can I have a piloting check from Kay, difficulty 1? This is less about piloting and more about understanding the environment that you're in right now.
Trust in my squiddy children.
Sorry, that probably gives you a black dice for being slightly freaked out as you had to pilot, having said that.
1 success, 5 advantage, and 1 dark side as I go, what the? I do not spend the dark side.
I like the idea that Roy is just going to adopt something every single season.
Well, I have already created a clone child that then rapidly died, got some rabbits, and then kind of not paid attention to what happened to them, so they've probably gone off and died somewhere.
No, most of them are in the fire opal breeding quietly in the hold because they got into the food because Tychus is a
We did
messy
give one
eater.
away as well, didn't we?
We gave one to Billy on Hiding
Billy.
Away, yes.
Yeah, hiding away. But yeah, I do gather small creatures. Your children as well, but I'm
Yes, I
probably
know.
going to try and abscond with them.
Yeah, we keep better track of where they are.
What your pilot is able to figure out
I've got
is
a net.
that what Kay is able to figure. I'm doing that thing where you anyway.
Sorry, being
What Kay is able to figure out. Sorry, Kay.
it's all right.
Your pilot is able to figure out is there's a pulse to this. It's not like a 1, 2, 3 go, but there is, and this is why we're having difficulty, and this is also possibly why Tychus wasn't able to find something to shoot through. But there was definitely a low point, a high point, and a point when everything flows. And if you time your thrusters just right on the advantages, you can spend those advantages to move faster because you're hitting the kind of the push point. And then you have to brake when it slows down, otherwise it'll pull you back, and then push again. And what this means is it means that you are now definitely in a specific flow. And according to the scanners, that you are where you're expecting to be, and you're heading towards what you determined as the heart. This is going to be a journey of 2 to 3 hours, however, as you go the slow but steady way through this enormous pyroclastic cave system. If no one minds, I'm going to kind of just narratively go through this. Is there anything you want to be... Interrupt me if there's stuff that you want to be doing whilst I describe this. So on the way, you find yourselves in these large chambers that are full of life. Mostly it's jellies, but you also see kind of like little kind of fluttery star things made out of heat. At one point you see another lava kraken, and then you just see this enormous kind of tubular creature eat it, devour it. Like, there's always a bigger fish as that moment just happens, as it just gets devoured by this other thing. And like, you're just sitting there waiting for the next flow, It's Kraken there, massive lava worm eats it.
If Kay and Tychus were cooler people, like 2 Jedi being glib, we'd probably have said something like, there's always a bigger fish. But what actually Kay says is, ah! It's not as punchy.
The doc is going to be spending most of this time probably in some way, getting medical scans or generally trying to work out what on earth this phase thing is inside the cookie jar, because it's got, because there's a captive example to have a little quick scanner. But every time Kay screams, he looks outside the window because there's something interesting going on. I mean, whenever else Kay says there's something interesting going on outside the window, He will also have a look outside and generally try and take notes and make sure, where possible, we are making records of things, because this is interesting.
Tychus is very fixated on the data slate and computer readouts of the environmental sensors, the life support systems, and like the temperature deflection baffles and all that sort of stuff. And every time Kay screams, he just twitches slightly and then starts typing very slightly faster, and he's very deliberately not looking out of the windows. Because if he's making Kay wig out, Tychus does not want to see what that is. He's just like, nope, no, I'm going to look at my data slate where things are in my control and push the buttons to make the things stay in the green.
Roy is clearly going through quite a tumultuous moment because he can think very fast, even though it doesn't seem like it. He's loving seeing all the interesting life, jabbering at the doctor and the jelly as he's pointing stuff out, but also keeps going, because he then turns to the jelly and goes,
Oh, do you want to be back out there? Because we might not be hanging around here very long, and you know, this is where you live, and this is your home.
I mean, we are force migrating this creature. We are taking it quite far away from where we picked it up.
I'm using the Force?
Yeah, okay, I was just... Force migrating is not quite... Yeah.
I can't do this to you! That would be the dark side of the Force.
It's got two enormous eyes right now. It's just staring at you. It keeps doing the flash, which, as far as you understand, it means hello, and it just keeps going hello.
okay, I'm going to open the container again so it can...
Be free, my friend. I will never forget you.
It leaves the jar and just hangs next to your shoulder. And hello.
Hello.
It's like a cuckoo makes a little song that basically says, this is where your nest is, and you're both making that sound to each other, which basically says you are family to each other.
Oh,
Yes, so it's about 3 hours. Can I have that academics roll from the doc, please? The education roll.
Another education roll.
Yes, please.
Okay, difficulty on this one?
Would be... Right. The higher it is, the more information you'll get, essentially. So you get to pick, because you're studying. You're saying you're studying these creatures.
Okay.
So if you want to do a light study, that's 1. If you want to do a medium study, that's 2. If you want to do a heavy study, that's 3. You will get more information the harder you go through it, if you see what I mean.
I mean, it's not like I'm crew on a science festival. I'm trying to pay attention to, the needs of the crew around me. I mean, ideally, for example, I will have also done some medical things and treated Tychus's wound, that sort of thing, along the way down as well. And, as I say, Kate keeps screaming and pointing at things out the window. So I'm going to go with 2 difficulty. This is just an average. Okay, let's find out what this thing is as best I can with the tools I've got. But I have TBC, who's presumably also doing some kind of medical thing as well. So does that get me some kind of boost?
Yeah, TBC can give you 2 boosts for this, as you are doing an environmental assessment, essentially.
I don't know how much creatures that phase through other creatures. I don't know how well known the thing that is, but this is something we should know about. Okay, that is 3 success, 1 advantage, and a triumph.
yes!
Wow.
Go dark, go dark, go dark.
Once you spend some time, you think it's more the fact that you're able to use some of the equipment that Tychus has put on here to give you a full environmental sweep, so you can essentially build a simulation as to what these are, and you're taking the information. You have a very strong idea as to what the ecosystem is. This will give you essentially an additional 2 blue or any rolls for scanners and trying to figure out where things are, if you see what I mean, all passive research stuff. But you now have, once you collate it, you could probably have enough data to present to the academy once you work this up. What is it that you wanted to know?
Mostly how it managed to get through the hull, but...
Oh, so the if you were to dissect one of these, you could probably figure out... Oh, one of the things you do realise is that these things glow, and the reason these things glow is because they're eating little crystals. And the little crystals are the same crystals that you find in lightsabers.
I'm more impressed that Roy isn't immediately making the assumption that these are like you, Doc.
I mean, did they start glowing?
It has been glowing. You've been glowing back at it.
Oh, no, the squid, sorry. You're right, fair. No. You don't glow anymore. I've been really disappointed with you. You've broken my heart, Doc.
The phase powers specifically come from from them digesting crystal.
Okay.
Observing them, you see that they've got tiny crystals inside their gut. You assume that's their gut, but that's the thing that makes them do the glowy thing, the weird kind of flashy, glowy movie thing that they do.
Okay.
And after about 3.5 hours, Kay, you find obviously the entrance to the chamber and the realization that directly above you is a slightly different environment.
Okay.
And you will have to very carefully kind of phase. You don't need to make a roll unless you want to do something flashy, but you will need to dock.
No, being very careful, so not making the roll. We're going to go slow and steady.
Okay, so what that looks like is you slowly but surely kind of rise into what can be best described as this glorious natural cavern. The stalactites are glowing and flash. The environment behind you is essentially it's less hot. You can definitely get out of your encounter vehicle in your encounter suits into this area. But the thing that is monumental is you're in this massive circular chamber. It is huge. Like, beyond the cathedral side, it is massive. It's a massive area. It's its own space. And distant, big, kind of like on all sides, there appears to be cavern and cavern system. And I describe the rocks above as the father, the daughter, and the son. These are, in the middle, one massive face of a Syrian woman who looks serene and relaxed and calm. And then on one side, a very patriarchal-looking male figure with the mustache, but it's a smaller stature. It's a smaller head, even. It's a natural formation. And on the other side, there is a younger man who looks like he would steal your car. He's just got this kind of sinister, kind of, he's sinister, kind of corrupt, kind of, dodgy, angry, dodgy youth look to his face. Whereas the female face, which is the biggest dominant face, looks serene and calm. The floor is covered in silver, gold, and also crystalline pattern work. But between them, there are crystalline outcroppings, and they are phase jellies. They are these beautiful kind of flying birds. They are crystalline plants. Titus notices two things almost immediately. One, there's a lot of crystal here, and two, there's some of the jelly creatures with cybernetic attachments. And on that, I think we're going to break for the next episode. Thanks for listening. You'll have to catch up soon, and pleasure as always.
Force Majeure is played using the Star Wars Force and Destiny game system by Edge Studios. Our intro music is by the amazing Sly Fox Audio. Check out more of her work at soundcloud.com/SlyFoxAudio. Our outro music is Suburban Outlaw instrumental version by Forget the Whale, used with gratitude under a Creative Commons license. Many of the sound effects and soundscapes are created using Sirenscape, because epic games need epic sounds. If you're enjoying the show and want to support us, there's 3 ways you can do that. The first is by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/ForceMajeurePod, where for as little as $1 a month you get access to outtakes, adverts, various other stuff, and my fortnightly ramblings. You can drop us a coffee at ko-fi.com/ForceMajeurePod, or you can leave us a rating and review wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to interact with us, there's a few ways you can do that. We are on the social medias, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter as @ForceMajeurePod, and we're over on Mastodon as @ForceMajeurePod at dice.camp. You can also join our Discord, link in the show notes. Thank you very much for listening and being with us as we tell these stories. We hope you are having fun, and we will see you next time.